Howdy, this is Paul Edwards with Danmark Company, and we're back. This is now the portion of the demonstration or product understanding where you actually are going to see some water being pumped through the system. Once again, I want to emphasize that whenever you're testing your equipment, you want to purge any chemical, any residual chemical out of your lines. And I'm talking about all of your lines. We're talking about your water lines, your antimicrobial lines, your feed lines, your uptake lines. All lines have to be purged of any residual chemical that might be present, okay? Even though we're dealing with chemistries that are low in concentration, they still are hazardous. For example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate to you the chemistry that we're using now is XG940. XG940 is a 9.4% sodium chloride. 9.4% sodium chloride. Here's our acid. Our acid is a, let me go and get this to a position where you can see it. The acid is a 1% phosphoric acid, okay? Let me put this on pause for a moment. See that? That's a 1% phosphoric acid, folks. And notice that even in a 1% phosphoric acid, you see the corrosive label? You're going to see that corrosive label on XG940, folks. So even though we're using a 1% phosphoric acid and a 9.4% sodium chloride, we're still talking about corrosive materials. So just be very careful with what you're doing where raw materials are going to be used. Now, when those two chemistries are mixed through that pump, then it's not considered corrosive at that point because it's been diluted significantly and your pH is neutral, so it's not a corrosive material at that point. But we still want you to take all the precautions necessary to protect yourself and to protect your employees. So keep that in mind, folks. Okay, folks, we're back to the system now. We've got the mini dose. We've got water running into this unit. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the particulars of this system, okay? Remember that I told you that this regulator right here is regulating water flow rate? So up until this point right here, all of this section is water. This is water. All of this is water. But once the pump itself draws in the acid and sodium chloride and it injects it down at the mixing chamber there, now it becomes acid and sodium chloride. In this tank right here, or this little section here, that is your strongest and most dangerous portion of your chemistry. Folks, I want to emphasize, it is your strongest and most dangerous portion of your chemistry, okay? In that tube right there, that tube sees a 1% acid and it sees sodium chloride at 9%, okay? So we've minimized that reaction there by using a 1% phosphoric acid, but still, you've got to be aware that that is the part that you've got to be real worried about controlling, okay? And that's what that purge valve is for, okay? The purge valve will control that, okay? So now what? That's your purge valve there. You see that blue handle switch there? That's your purge valve. And that purge valve goes into the bottom of your mix chamber and it's designed to purge all of that out, okay? Can I tell you something right now? When you're getting ready to purge that, I want you to disconnect that clear tubing right there, okay? I want you to disconnect that clear tubing right there, okay? And I want you to connect that tubing directly into your drain. You always purge directly into the drain. You never purge into the tank. Always purge into the drain. Once again, always purge directly into the drain and never into your tank. Okay? Now, I'm going to go back over here. That setting there on your pump, that setting, you want that setting to be at 0. You want that setting to be at 0. You want that to be at 0 when you're starting your system up, okay? So the way you do that, once again, this is in water, okay? So I'm making adjustments to a 5-gallon pail of water on the other side of this wall, okay? When you turn it, as I'm doing, you'll notice that that hatch mark goes from 0.7, 0.6. It's going all the way to 0. You see it getting closer to 0? So, when you have it at 0, or close to it, your concentration is going to be weaker, right? Do you see that? You also want it at 0 when you're going to purge the system, because you're going to run water full blast and you're going to purge it, okay? Can I go ahead and do a demo right now of what full blast sounds like? I'm going to do it right now. Hear that? Click, 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 click. That is full blast. Okay, I'm going to turn it off. See that? Very little click. Let me try it again. I'm going to do hand motions now, folks. Do some training here. Okay, let me do this. Okay. So with every click, imagine my hand going in a certain direction. Click, 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 click. Feed, go, feed, no feed, feed, no feed, feed, no feed, feed, no feed, feed, no feed. Now, I'm going to slow it down. Feed, no feed, feed, no feed. Okay, that's how you control gallons per minute. That is slow gallons, very low gallons per minute right there. Feed, low, no feed. Feed, no feed. That's slow gallons per minute, very low, okay? Now check this out. That's high gallons per minute. Hear that? Now that's minimized by this valve right here, this flow regulator. It's minimized because of that. Okay, folks? You got the idea. So if you're at 0 and it's going fast and down, up and down fast, it's still a low concentration because the concentration is not established by the volume going through this. That's not what determines the concentration. That setting right there determines the concentration right there. What that's saying you right there, at that point right there, that you're at 0.4, okay? Which is 1 to 250. That's the part, that's the dilution rate. 1 to 250, okay, is the dilution rate because of that. Okay? That setting is giving you 1 to 200 parts, not 1 to 200 parts per million, 1 to 250 dilution. Okay, you use your test kit to determine your parts per million. Okay, there you go. Okay, so flow rate does not determine your volume of chemistry. Flow rate does not determine your volume of chemistry. The setting on the pump, the setting on the mini dose 12, 1% pump, so at 0.4%, you're at 1 to 250. 1 to 250. For every 1 ounce, 250 ounces are added to it. Okay? But it's a 1% pump, okay? It's not a 2.5, it's not a 5% pump. It is giving you 1% of the total concentration that it's drawing. So at full flow, at full setting, you're getting 1% of the total concentration that it's drawing. Okay? So use your test kits to determine concentration. Use your pump to vary your concentration. Okay? Now we're moving on. Okay, folks. So now you see the water in the tank, right? Yes, that is water in the tank. Okay, always meter water and always enter water into the tank when you're training or you're making repairs or you're determining your equipment. Now, I said training, use water when you're training. Yes, but what if you're training for how to use the equipment during the real world? Meaning you've got antimicrobial agent in the tank, and you've got an employee you're doing some training with, you're trying to show them how to dip this system and everything. You want to show them how this works. You're going to want to show them the right way. So have them wear gloves. Have them wear safety glasses. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the flow rate because obviously that tank isn't filling up very quick at that flow rate. So now when I increase the flow rate, guess what? Now all of a sudden the water's coming in. It's coming in on bottom. See that, guys? Girls? Okay, I want you to focus on that little... See that water's coming in right in there. Can't see any really water bubbles coming in. But when you first get started, oh yeah, you can. You see those little bubbles coming in? That's water coming in there. So it is drawing a little bit of air, and it's coming right in the bottom there. See? So guess what, folks? You can filter your water coming into the pump. You can filter that. I would suggest you use a 100 micron filter. 100 to 300 to 500 micron. That's gonna filter out suspended solids. So you're welcome to do that. You see this lever is starting to go up. See that lever? It's popping there. The lever's starting to go up. Okay, it's gonna fill up here. It's gonna fill up. Imagine that this is an antimicrobial agent filling into the tank, okay? Remember, you're going to test your tubing with water, so you should be able to see water being drawn up into the tubing, into the mini dose pump, okay? Filling up. Okay. Wait here patiently. This is it's got this little mesh here, and that mesh keeps from suspended solids going down in there. And you might have trimming parts or some sort of a debris that might have come off from somewhere. Usually what happens is you have food particles. In the produce industry, we've seen lettuce separate and go in and get trapped in there. We might see something that made it from the field in the produce in there, so that's possible. Trimming, you might see fat get in here, so any separated fat parts might go in there. My recommendation when you go to clean this is go on and take that valve off and clean it all the way through in there, and take this lever off because it's hard to clean around it and you don't want to break that lever connection there. So So just disassemble. It's not really hard. It takes just a few minutes, and clean that real good so that you don't have any accumulation on it. On all cleaning, you should use a detergent, an alkaline detergent, and a sanitizer. You always should have replacement parts on hand so that you can go on and replace any parts that break. You know, just contact Danmark Company. We'd be more than happy to quote that for you. Okay. Now you're starting to see that it's slowing down a little bit. Okay. Want to do some things here for you. First of all, you can go on and make adjustments to this. Okay. Here's one way. I'm going to put my hand in here. Okay. And you can set the triggering of this at a different level. So you can set it where it triggers there, where it's actually in that position before it turns off. See how I adjusted that? So I unscrewed it there, and I allowed it to trigger so that can increase my level. So by resetting this floating arm, I can go on and reset my level. Okay, for that to turn off. Okay, remember we want to try to get as close to the top as we can here. That's one way to do it right there. I got water in here, so I can get my hands wet and dirty and everything in here, no problem. I'm wearing the gloves because I want to convince you to think safety first. So having gloves on when you're working on your equipment is safety first practice. Okay, guess what? Now it's filling up higher just because I made an adjustment to the float pitch. That floating arm, I set the pitch on it so that it would go on and elevate a little higher before it actually turns off. Let's see where that's at. If you start to develop leaks where you don't expect there to be leaks, you can go on and Teflon tape it extra, or you can go on and use glue to shut that down. Okay, you see how the level now is moving right here? See that level? Can you see that? Yeah, right there. Okay, let's see where that turns off at. I'm curious. I see I left that tag on there. Guys, if I shipped something out to you and I forgot to take the tag off, can I apologize now? I'm sorry I left that tag on there, okay? Okay, what's happening here? Is it going to turn off? Guess what, folks? We can adjust that. But you know, the whole idea of having this level there and is to be conserving your chemical usage and keep it at a level that's practical to you. Okay? See how the lever is turning? Listen to the sound. The pump is slowing down. Wow. I almost have it perfect. You know what? I couldn't have planned that. I could not plan that. See how that's turned off? Just beep. Oh my goodness. Look at that. You know what? I just remembered that I haven't checked my lotto numbers. I might have even won the lotto. Can't believe it. Look at that. It's right at the edge. It hasn't even gone over yet. Is it going to go over? Or is it going to stop right there? Oh my goodness. Oh, look at... Okay, it went over. Darn it. I guess I didn't win the lotto. See it going over there? See it going over? It's going over there, right there. So close. Okay, well, that's okay. You tried. Okay, so that's a continuous flow right there going down, okay? Now I'm going to adjust that here in a few minutes, but I want to show you something, okay? Now I'm going to take my little my little product. This is the small product tote. Okay, let's pretend that this has trimmings in there. Beef trimmings, pork trimmings. I put it in, right? Guess what's going to happen? Bam! It's totally submerged. My hands are not getting wet. And I pull it out. See how that worked? And now guess what? For that brief period of time that I pushed it down in there, it did some replenishing. It cascaded over that level. Now check that out. Now, we're not going to wait for that product. We're not going to wait for that level there to go down before we put our next product in. So what can we do? We can lower our flow into this system, which I'm doing right now with the gate valve. And now let's look at what happens, okay? I'm letting that all drain. It's going directly into the drain because I left the valves open. Okay, I'm making a light adjustment here. Okay, I'm going in here. Okay, so we got the drain going directly in the drain. Okay, now what I'm doing is I'm putting it on pause for a second. Okay, folks, I'm back. So what I've done now is I've reduced the volume coming through the pump by using my gate valve. Now look what happens on our replenishment, okay? So I'm going to take my small case again, and I'm going to push it down. Now it's a slower flow rate. Okay, so now I pull it out. There you go. Now what's happened here is it's draining, right? Well, it's draining at a, remember this is a gravity feed system. So it's only going to drain as fast as the movement through the line into the drain is, okay? So we want to make sure that we've reduced the amount of elbows and things like this that could cause issue to us, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce my replenishment into the tank, okay? So I'm reducing my replenishment, and I'm looking at my drain here. See, it's fully open. What I'm going to do now, you see it go down? Did you see it go down there? Okay, it's completely drained now. Now what I'm going to do is, once again, I'm going to go down with my small. It's slowing down further. Pull it out. Folks, all you need is instant contact with the chemistry. This is not a chemistry that requires contact time or residence time to get your microbial kill. So don't think you have to leave it in underneath the water or the antimicrobial agent a period of time. You do not. You can just dip it in and pull it out. It's done. Okay? It is an oxidizer. An oxidizer acts immediately upon the polysaccharide coating of the bacteria. That means that it acts to kill the bacteria immediately. It disrupts it. Now, the quickest we've been able to measure that through remember, microbiology has its limitations. And we neutralized and we enumerated, the quickly we could do it was in 1 minute. So we neutralized we put the product, we inoculated the product, we sprayed it with the antimicrobial, we immediately neutralized the antimicrobial, and then we went to enumerate, and we found the reduction we found the quantitated amount, the quantified amount of bacteria reduced in 1 minute's time. So I mean, we were moving through to find out exactly how much was killed. And we did that very quick. We did it within a 1 minute span. But once again, there is no contact time required with acidified sodium chloride. It's an immediate microbial reduction. Okay? Oklahoma State University. I like all universities. I've worked with many meat science labs. Oklahoma did a study where Oklahoma State University did a study with the Ross tenderizer, and it was a mechanical tenderizing study where they wanted to look at as best as they could to see what the micro reduction was of a chemistry. Denmark company provided XG940, and they used a Ross tenderizer spray cabinet where it sprays and then tenderizes in the same conveyor cabinet. And we found that we had close to a 1 log reduction, and that was intended to be an immediate analysis because of the needle tenderizing pushing any surviving organisms into the center part of the meat through the tenderizing function. So it was a very, very strict study, and we did very well at 180 parts per million, 12 parts per million free, neutral pH. We got near a 1 log reduction, so it was a great study. Okay, folks, it's drained completely. It's turned off. There's no clicking in the background. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to once again reduce the flow through the gate valve, and I'm going to use my small tote that would have produce, push it down, pull it out. Did you hear that? You hear it in the background? Hear that? No clicking? Okay? It has a replenishment, but it's a slower replenishment. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to push it down. I'm going to hold it down. Hear that in the background? Okay, there you go. Put this out. Now, I bet some of you are wondering, what would happen if we were using the large tote? You've been doing all your examination, Paul, with the small tote. What happens if you use the large tote? Will it go underneath the water? Well, let's find out. Wow, it does. You see that? It's underneath the water. Very good. So whether you're using your large or your small, it will work. Okay, folks, I'm not going to try to predict what your antimicrobial concentration is going to be at any setting. That is not my intended purpose, okay? What I said was start at 0, okay? Go from 0 to 0.2 and test your concentration. Go to 0.2 to 0.4 and test your concentration. Okay? Use the Keeper Sticks test kit. The Keeper Sticks test kit if you are above 500 parts per million total acidified sodium chloride. Use your Keeper reagent test kit if you are below 500 parts per million total acidified sodium chloride. Okay? On your chlorine dioxide, you're using your free chlorine dioxide test kit, and you are testing free chlorine dioxide to be within a range of 0 to 30. Okay? One thing I want to make clear to you guys is that your supporting documentation is the determining level of your concentration. Let me repeat myself. Your supporting documentation is your determining minimal concentration required. So if you're using supporting documentation that you're at 180 parts per million total a 12 parts per million free, then you want to be above 12 parts per million free and above 180 parts per million in your tank to reduce E. coli, if it's E. coli you're looking to reduce. If you're looking at salmonella, then you're going to have to look at concentrations where a salmonella was used as the inoculum. And if you're using a concentration of 460 parts per million, because salmonella is what you're looking at, then your concentration has to be 460 parts per million. Whatever your total is, that is your total, 460 parts per million. It has to be above 460 parts per million. And if your free is 12, then you have to be above the free of 12. Now, another thing that I want to make sure you understand is that air quality is very important. So please make sure that you're constantly, with every startup, you get chlorine dioxide badges. Make sure that you use a chlorine dioxide badge to measure that level of concentration that your employees are exposed to. If you buy, you can buy a safe air badge, which is a real-time digital air quality unit, and that is available through Danmar Company. Matter of fact, when you get the tank, you have to have one of those. Okay, you do have to have that. It's part of the safety design, because you've got a tank here and it's got several gallons of the chemistry in there. Your employee's standing right above it, so you want to make sure that you have that addressed. Okay. You can use the small tote, and you can minimize the volume that's in this tank by using the small float. Okay. Now, one thing I want to do real quick for you is I'm going to readjust this float here. I'm going to loosen it up, and I'm going to go on and reset it here. So now what happens is when I reset this, what's going to happen is it's going to when the volume is down, let me go on and empty this. It's going to change the level setting. Notice how I'm unscrewing this here, that I'm emptying the tank water level by opening that up. So I've taken this out, this plug, you might say, or this little level, gives us an opportunity to show what see that kind of like a netting in there. That's how you keep your solids from plugging up your tubing there. And I'm letting that out a little bit. And I want to demonstrate what the new level is now that I've reset my float, okay? Again, I'm working with water, so you hear that draining? Yeah, it's draining all right. The flow rate of draining water in a tank like this is a whole lot faster because of the pressure created by the tank. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the valve so I get a little more flow rate in here, a little more water coming through there. See, I'm going to loosen this up here. I'm going to see at what level it starts to click. You hear clicking. When you hear clicking, that means that the pump has water traveling through it. When you hear clicking, that means the water is traveling through the pump. That's what that clicking means. When the pump is clicking. Okay, let's listen for the clicking to start. And we'll know when it starts by the sound. Can I say something about that safe air badge? That it's a real-time air quality badge. We don't mandate that you buy it for this system, okay? I want to clarify that. I don't have the authority to make you to do anything. We highly recommend that when you have this kind of volume of antimicrobial agent, that you get that safe air monitor. I will certainly have information for you on it. It's not cheap. It's about $575. But folks, if you want to respond to an OSHA inquiry, that unit is the one you want to do it with. The badge will work, but there's nothing like having a digital meter that's testing air quality for your employees and for you in your behalf than a digital air quality monitor that's measuring chlorine dioxide in the air. Okay? So I want to highly recommend that you look at getting one of those. Okay, we're still listening for the pump to start clicking. Hasn't started yet, but it will. Always review your manufacturer's... Oh, I heard a click. Another click. Okay, so I'm going to screw this in. I'm going to find out what level that is that it's starting there. Okay. So as it fills up, it's going to stop clicking. Okay, when it fills up, it stops. Look at the level here, this new level that we're at now. See it? It's just below the threading. That's our new level right there. Right here. Right there. See my finger causing that water? Right there, that's the new level. So I adjusted the arm, the floating arm, the floating lever. I keep on changing the name of it. The floating lever, I adjusted it. So now that's where my new level is, okay? So now when I go and get the large, let's see what happens when I do large here. When I put the large in, hear the clicking come on. But you see, it's not covering all of it, okay? It's not covering all of it, okay? So I pull it out, bam, it stops clicking because the lever told it to stop. Now check this out. The small goes all the way. See that? So sometimes you can minimize the volume in the tank. You can minimize the volume in the tank. This is what? We were here before at the very top. Now we're down here. So that's a length of about 2 inches. We've minimized the tank's depth or volume in that tank depth by 2 inches simply by using the smaller tote. Folks, use the smaller tote if you can. Bam. Okay, now pop quiz. If I decide to use it at that level, what else should I do? Anybody want to guess? If this is the level that you plan to use all the time, I'm going to preface all the time, this is your level. You're going to use a small tote. You're going to use this level most and all the time. Then go on and cut the length and make that your level. Move your level down here by cutting the stem length. Okay, folks? Because the key is we want this to be at the level so that every time this thing triggers, we want fresh chemical to come in, but we want used chemical or semi-used chemical to go down that drain, okay? And as long as we have a recirculation pattern that is efficient that way, you lower that to this level because that's the normal level you're using it at, then that's going to make this function Very efficient. So you're going to have debris cascading in here and getting filtered out, and you may have to pull that out. The way you would do that is you'd go on and unscrew it, pull this out, dump the debris, stick your finger in there, just push it back into place. Bang, it's ready to go. Okay? Unscrew it from here, pull that out, clean it in real good, and push it back in. Okay? You can order these from us. You can order that from us. You can all these parts you can order from us. Okay? But guess what? Some of that stuff you can find locally. Lowe's, Home Depot, any one of those will have a lot of these components. Okay, buddy? But we want you to buy from us everything that you need. But we understand that sometimes your back's against the wall. You got to get some parts, and they're there locally, so that's fine. Okay. We really appreciate your business at Danmar Company, and we hope that these trainings help you. It's our intention to do that. One more thing. What about that tank over there? Okay, what's the story on that tank? Well, that tank has water in it too. Okay? And that lever works just the same as this one right here. And it is a double dip system that is intended to provide 2 applications of antimicrobial to control your E. coli salmonella issues. Okay? Thank you very much for your time. We appreciate your business. And you're welcome to call us up at 817-822-5767, 817-822-5767, or you can call us at 888-822-5767. Wear safety safety glasses, wear gloves. If you have an employee complaint, act on it immediately, whether it's air quality testing, concern of any kind. Employees have a right to know. Please give them that information. Develop confidence in this program and in the safety of this program by answering their questions. Thank you very much and have a great day.